All right, let's do this. Hey, it's Brock here from Rock Hill Farms, and today we're going to be spreading some stone on my driveway with my compact tractor. This is a project I've been needing to get done, and I'm excited to get started. I'm also excited to tell you guys what it's like to be a content creator. So I have been posting videos for about 3 years now. I've published 1,163 videos about working here on my property. And if we're being honest, I still don't know what I'm doing. But you can't make that many videos and not learn a few things. Now I get messages at least a few times a week from someone saying, "Hey Brock, I love your videos. I've been watching you for a long time. I'm starting my own channel. I was wondering if you had any tips for me." They'll ask about editing software and cameras and things like that. And today I want to show you behind the scenes what it looks like for me making videos about working outdoors. What you need to worry about and what you don't. We're going to talk about camera positioning and editing and all those sorts of things. So if you're one of my regular viewers and not interested in making videos, hopefully this is kind of an entertaining behind the scenes. But mainly I'm hoping that this is really helpful for someone who wants to start making videos and maybe make this a source of income for them and their family. So let's get started. So I just had my camera on a tripod a second ago, and now I'm walking around with it. Why am I doing that? Well, I want you guys, the viewers, to feel like you're taking a journey with me and not just watching a static recording. And, you know, sometimes I'm lazy with recording, but little things like movement and, you know, the way you set up your background and have your tractor in the background and things like that can really make a big difference. Now I could have said every bit of this from the same spot over there, but I'm trying to change the pace and open up pattern interrupts so that it doesn't feel like the video is long as it really is. Because one of the things you need to do to be successful at content creation is get your viewers to watch your videos for a long period of time. If someone clicks on your video and only watches for 1 minute, not very many people will be shown that video because the algorithm of the platform believes that the viewer didn't like the video, and that's not a good thing. And no amount of camera tricks will fix a video that isn't interesting because there's no story being told. So the most important thing is deciding what you're going to make a video about. And the best videos, in my opinion, answer questions that the viewer might have. I've come to the realization that my viewers, a percentage of my viewers, are interested in learning how to make a video. So today I'm trying to teach you that in a way that I've never seen anyone else teach it on YouTube. So I'm trying to answer a specific question. Videos that do that have kind of a head start. The next thing is you've got to make an entertaining video that people like watching. And then the final step is packaging that video with a title and thumbnail that is intriguing enough that people will click on it. I've got a lot to say and I don't want this video to be overly long, and I realize I'm kind of bouncing all over the place. So we're going to start at the most basic thing that people ask me, and that is, what kind of camera should I use? And I'm going to show you 3 different options and talk about it. This is a perfectly good YouTube camera, and I know channels 10 times as big as mine that are experiencing much more success than I am, who do an entire channel with just this. I find that recording with the cell phone doesn't really work for me. So I do long projects and I like to have access to my phone throughout the project. I don't like hooking up an external mic to my phone, and the memory and the way you transfer the data, I haven't felt it was convenient for me. But you can do literally anything you need to do with just a phone. Next step up from that, for me, after I did maybe 5 videos with my cell phone, was the GoPro camera. I still use a GoPro camera. Very versatile, but it has some drawbacks to running a whole channel with it. But once again, I know channels that are successful that run their entire channel with just a GoPro. So this is on a magnetic base, so I can stick it on the tractor like that. The same magnetic base also has a clamp. I've got a bunch of different accessories for attaching things. Okay, I can clamp on here. I just ordered a welding helmet that has a GoPro mount already built onto the welding helmet. You can put them on your chest. They're very versatile, but they kind of suck because There's a little bit of hassle, once again, to getting an external mic like this mounted onto this small camera, but you can do it. And the battery life is terrible. They're not great in low light. There are downsides to these, but it's an affordable option that's maybe less complicated. For me, I only use the GoPro or phone shots for like in the moment, unexpected shots, or trying to capture up close footage of movement. What I primarily use is a DSLR or mirrorless camera. A lot of people will be thinking about buying this type of camera and realize it's complicated. Cameras are complicated. I don't even understand them. I literally have done 1,163 videos and I don't know how to use the settings on my camera. I use this type of camera because I want a wide angle lens on a sturdy body with a good shoe for mounting a microphone. And the reason I want a wide angle lens is because I feel like for the audience to feel like they know me, I need to get up close to the camera. But once again, I'm bouncing around. We'll get into that in a minute. So I've used about 6 different DSLR cameras. I have a tendency to break them or have problems because I put them in harm's way recording the type of videos I do. So I'm not picky at all about this. I'm recording on a Sony a6100. It was there were only like 3, the day I broke my last camera, there were only like 3 in-stock options at Best Buy, and I just grabbed one of them. Because I've used so many, I know it doesn't really matter what you record on. What matters is your storytelling. What really, really matters about recording is audio. I've had videos where I was completely out of focus for the whole video, and people still watched it and didn't really complain much. But if your audio is bad, it's over. Just forget it. No one is going to listen to static, popping, and crackling from wind noise. And that's a big issue that I fight with because we're in an open plain here. We got all of this fields out here in the middle of Kansas, and it is windy. I invest money into good microphones, and both of these cameras right here have the same microphone. It is from the Rode Wireless GoPro. It's their most expensive, and it's powered by the microphone. It has a rechargeable battery in here, whereas some microphones are powered by the camera. And I want the best microphone I can get that is attached to the camera. So this has this big fuzzy thing on it. That's called a dead sock or dead cat for some reason. Other people call it a windsock. But this blocks your wind noise. You can also do that in the editing process, but we'll talk about that later. A lot of the really good channels, most of them actually, are using wireless microphones. I have them, I've used them, I don't like them. They're better because they put the audio recording right up close to you, which helps with that audio quality. But to me, it's a big hassle having that clipped on, and if that gets twisted, it'll rustle against your shirt. You can lose signal and not know it and record without audio. For me, I stick right here. And I want to talk about framing shots. I see a lot of channels that record their videos like this. And they're working over here and they're talking. And to be honest, would you meet someone in person and talk to them from over there? How are you ever going to know someone if you can't see them? And if I could give you one piece of advice, smile. We're all unique. We all have personalities. You've got to show that. And it's hard at first. You're like a robot, like, I am on camera. It is my job to share the information. I must do it right. Nobody wants to see that. If you wanted to watch, like, dry, boring videos, the best how-to channel for working on a house is Lowe's. But it's just like Home Depot. They make great videos, but it's like paint drying. I'd rather watch some redneck carpenter. That's my opinion. So get up close to the camera. Get a wide angle lens so that you can be up close and still show the whole background. Next, I want to talk about the 2 biggest obstacles to recording videos outside. That is the sun and the wind. Oh, some days I hate the sun and the wind because if you're on the wrong side of your project and the sun is on the other side, you're just out of luck. Now today is a lucky day because it's partially overcast, but if I want to show my bucket coming into this pile of rock, I have to do it from that side, and I can only do that in the evening. And maybe I don't want to record at 5, 6 p.m. and be rushed to get my project done. But if I come out here at 8 a.m. and record, and I put the camera on this side and I come in from this side, the shadow of the tractor will be over it, but the background will be lit. And you won't be able to tell what I'm doing. So you've got to think about the placement of the sun, the time you record. And sometimes I find myself barely getting a project done because I waited till late in the evening when the sun was in the right place. Just something to think about. Next is wind. Out here, I've already said it, I've already talked about it, but man, that wind noise is the worst. So anyway, let's actually record something and talk about options here. In the next couple days, I'm gonna record a video about using this rock that's piled here, but I'm not gonna do it today. So I'm gonna show you how to pick up and carry rock with a open bottom bucket, and we're not gonna actually move any. But I want to think about the way you record. You have to record for the edit. You have to think, my traditional formula, unlike today where I'm only talking, my traditional formula is to alternate. I want to talk for 30 seconds to a minute, show 1 to 2 minutes of work being done, talk for another 30 seconds for pattern interrupts. And so as you're working, think, do I have some commentary to put in at this part of the video? And how often do you want to change camera angles? If you leave the camera in one place, it can get boring in a hurry. I'm going to record this same footage with one camera that's over here, sitting in one place, just taking in all the action. Then I'm going to record a second set of footage with 2 cameras at unique or different angles. And we'll just see what you guys think. This is the kind of stuff I struggle with decision making on, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on how I should be doing this. So I've actually flipped my camera upside down in the tripod, and I can invert that footage later, but it allows me to get the camera right next to the ground, so we're getting a great shot of actually going into the rock pile. For our second version using this camera, we're also going to have a GoPro on the bucket. Got to check and make sure the camera's still on. Now, right now, I really wish I had a partner with BoltOnHooks. Ken from Ken's BoltOnHooks sent me some of his products to demonstrate, but we don't have any kind of an agreement where I can give the viewer a percentage off. But if we did, this would be a great time to say that you can help the channel and help yourself by getting some of these great chain boxes from Ken's BoltOnHooks. You can put chains in them, and sandwiches or anything that you want, you can put in those boxes. I use them to carry tripods all the time. So now I wanted to come out here to a different location and give you a bit of a different backdrop so it feels like the video's moving along. And also I just need to put my tractor up. That's how that works. And I want to talk about trying to be perfect on camera. Just a second ago, I started into this speech I wanted to give, and it's hot out here, I'm sweaty, and I had an itch right here. And I kind of gave it a scratch like that. And I could have said, well, I don't want to do that. That looks weird on camera. I'm going to edit that out. Stop what I'm doing and say that part again. But people don't need you to be perfect. They need you to be real. And so I try to be real. So on making mistakes in videos, I've got some interesting tips here. So if I'm talking and then I forget how to talk, then when I mess up, I'll clap my hands and that'll make an audio spike on the timeline. And then I will say, what was the last sentence that was good? And I keep that logged in my mind. The last thing that was good, right before I scratched my head, was this. And then I clap my hands and I jump back to that spot so that when you edit, it makes a smooth transition. And you can have a broken conversation that feels like a smooth conversation. And that's about recording for the edit. Get a feel for what editing looks like, and then you can record in a way that's going to make it easier to edit. One thing that drives me crazy, and I haven't found a solution for, is when I have a big, long conversation, and I have something important that I want to say in there, and I forget to say it. Then I'm editing and realize I didn't say that thing. And you can add it through voiceover or whatever the case may be. But earlier I was talking about how hard it is to film because of the sunlight. Well, I have sunglasses on my head at all times when I'm recording because I'm very light sensitive, and I had LASIK surgery a few years ago, and that made me more light sensitive. So if I walk out into the sun, I'm trying to record, and like right now, the sun's not quite on me, but it's just bright enough that I'm kind of squinting. And if I don't wear sunglasses, I'm doing this, and it looks like I'm in a bad mood or something. It's not pleasant to watch. So I wear the sunglasses, now I can smile. I can look like I'm having a good time. But there's a saying that wearing sunglasses makes you seem untrustworthy, like I'm trying to hide something. I'm not. I'm trying to see you. I'm trying to smile. I'm trying to enjoy recording the video. So it just is what it is. That's one of those things I'm constantly working around. Now I could go back to where I was and try to recreate that scene and put that part of the conversation where it belongs, but it'd be hard. It'd be hard to stitch that together like that. So we're just going to stick it where it doesn't belong, which is one of my main guiding principles in life. So now we're walking again, and you can see that I'm kind of shadowed across my face. And a lot of times, like now, I want to walk out here while I talk for that movement, but it's hard to do because of the position of the sun. I could walk backward, but that doesn't work either. So why am I walking out here in a video that doesn't require me to? Well, I want you to understand that this is a video series and there are other interesting things happening. So that if you click on this video to learn one specific thing, I don't want you to figure that thing out and leave and never come back. I want you to know that this is an interesting series where every day I'm doing something interesting. So I'll mention that I've got the pond in the background with the windmill. And maybe you'll think, windmills are cool. Let me see what else he does. Then I come out here and let you know that our cleanup project yesterday was a huge success. We've got a couple spots that still need work. The bonfire was great, but now my burn hole is flooded, which is kind of a bummer. Be hard to burn out here for probably 2 weeks now. Now, I've tried to tell a story that leads you to watch other videos on my channel, and I will link those other videos at the end of this video. But actually at the end of this video, I'm going to post some videos about how much money I make making videos. Last thing I want to say before we go in and start working on putting this video together on the computer is intentionality with titles and thumbnails. So before I record a video, and the entire time I'm recording a video, I'm thinking, what is the title and the thumbnail of this going to be? It's like having a flashing sign outside of a real business that says, great prices, come on in, whatever the case is. Cheapest oil change, fastest oil change in town. You got to tell that customer, hey, come here, come in our store instead of the one across the street. That's what it is with videos. I have to tell people that my video is worth watching. And so the entire time I'm on the tractor, when I'm moving cameras, I'm thinking, what picture would make someone want to see what I did here? What story can I tell in the title? What can I say that invokes curiosity, but not wasting the viewer's time by having a title that doesn't match what happens in the video? Because I see a lot of channels where every single video is, you won't believe what happened, and then nothing really happens. So we all use those types of titles sometimes. But if you do it all the time, I feel like that really is an annoyance to the viewer. So today, thumbnails, what am I thinking? I could do something where if I have one of those little action things or something that I was holding here to show like I'm recording a video or something. That was like a thought that entered my mind. Another thought was just an action shot like I always use. The tractor like picking up a big log or something. Those are intriguing where the viewer says, okay, something interesting happens here. Another option is, what I might do, and I don't know till I get there, is maybe the shot of me talking to one camera, recording with another, might be the most intriguing thing that matches what this video is really about. But you've got to be thinking about it the entire time, before, during, and after. And then usually I'll finish editing my video at midnight, and then I take another 2 hours working on title and thumbnail, because it matters that much. So I think that's the end of recording out here. Now I want to show you what editing a video looks like for me. So now we've recorded our footage, and it's time to turn that footage into a video. And I feel like you can take bad footage and make a good video. As I say that, there are people who do very little editing, and it's a very rough style. And mine is sometimes a little bit rough intentionally. It's kind of like the conversation about what should you record with. It doesn't really matter. It's about storytelling. And there are channels that are successful editing on their phone. I think recording on your phone is much more reasonable than trying to edit on your phone. I did a few videos on my phone, then I did a few on this iPad. I said, nope, can't do it. I've got to have a dedicated computer for this. We had a Windows computer, but it was used for other things. So I got a MacBook Pro. And I used iMovie for about 100 videos, and then I switched over to Final Cut Pro. And you could do, iMovie will do everything you need to do, but I decided I do so many videos I wanted Final Cut Pro. If you're on a Windows computer, then Filmora is one free software, but there's a lot of good software out there, from free to paid. And the best bet on that is probably just watch some videos about comparing different editing softwares. On a Windows, if you have a MacBook or any kind of an Apple computer, 100% just use iMovie. At least until you feel like you've outgrown iMovie. So the first thing we do is create a project in the editing software and name it something you'll remember. Now, if you're using your phone to record, you can use AirDrop or something like that to get the files onto the computer. But if not, you're going to take your memory card, put it into a card reader. That's going to pop open a window showing you all of your files, and you import the files. Now this is like a weird situation right now because what I'm recording right now is one of the files that we need in this video. I imagine what I'm talking about right now is really boring, but I've got a bunch of bloopers that we're going to put in here, so that ought to be fun. So I've selected all the files that were recorded today, and I click import. Now it's going to take like 20 minutes to drag those files in. So there's a lot of waiting. And I have 3 different cameras, so I have 3 memory cards that I have to import. So this is just part of the process. Import, wait, and you do that before you can actually start editing. Now this feels like some weird scene from Back to the Future 3, because I'm dragging in all of these clips that you have already watched. Plus, a bunch more that didn't make it to you. So let's see what I did here, as I was trying to make some kind of a funny intro, and I don't know yet which one of these I played in the video.
Okay, here we go. You got this. You're the best. Let's do it. Hey, it's Brock here from Rock Hill Farms, and today...
Was that too much? Not enough? Should that go in the video? Now, a lot of times, most of my videos, I do one take. If I mess up a little bit, that's okay. But you'll see right here's a clip where I tried to do it. Here's a clip. Another one.
Hey, it's Brock.
Another clip. Another clip. And it looks like this is the one I kept. So, I can probably delete all these. Unless we want to make some deleted scenes out of them. Then, I'm going to come to this first clip, and I'm going to saturate the colors and watch what it does on the screen. See how much more that pops? I like to saturate my colors But there are some instances where that doesn't look good. But you know what? Before I do that, I need to import this footage off of the other cameras, so we've got everything on here, and then make all my adjustments. So let's do that real quick. So now we have all of our clips imported, but we've got to figure out where they go. All these clips with the orange on them are already in our timeline. We've got to add these other clips here. These clips just happened. These are what we just recorded. So we know they go at the end of the timeline. What do we have here? This is GoPro footage of working on the rock pile. We'll put it down here. Then all of this footage is what the other camera saw while I was doing my intro, and we may use some of that. Oh, those are good shots right there. Especially if you didn't know I could move that fast. We can put all of those in here and see if I want to sort those into bloopers of any kind. And then this and this are good shots. At least this one is. We'll put this down here where we did our tractor work. So now I'm going to show you, I can't show you editing this whole video because that takes hours and hours, but I can show you some things. Like at the bottom of the ticker here, our timeline, we have audio tracks. And I can see that there's no audio on any of this. So I can, just by scanning the audio, I can tell nothing's happening there and clip it. With a MacBook, I hit Control B and that separates it. Then I click it and delete. Yeah, as I was thinking about how I wanted to do this video, I was picturing teaching you all these different editing tricks, and there's just no way to do that because it just takes too long. But I'll try to show you a few. So I did my saturation on the first clip, copied it, then I'm going to hit Shift-Command-V, and I can paste those attributes to all the rest of the clips. So now we've adjusted our colors. But there will still be clips where I realize it was too saturated for that clip, or it's too dark, and I'll adjust color there. Let's see what else we need to do. So I always do voice isolation. I also switch from fit to fill on spatial conform, which just means that if anything was recorded in a different aspect ratio than how it's going to be published, we will be matched up. Next, I do voice isolation on everything I record. Everywhere that you see yellow on this timeline, that is a place where the audio is spiked above an acceptable level, and it's going to sound bad and distort. So I normally turn this down to about -4, and that will get rid of all of our distortions. So if you notice right here, this audio level, it's probably really hard to see, but this audio level is about half as high as this audio level because I walked over to the camera. So here I'm 8 feet away from the camera, and here I'm 2 feet away from the camera. So this audio is louder. So I always want to level this audio and this audio to be the same so it gives a smooth viewing experience. The same here, where I've got footage right next to the camera. It's going to be loud, and footage away from the camera that won't be. And so I need to match, and I want the machine audio of a machine running to always be a little quieter than the audio of me speaking, but I want to even out all the audio to get it as close to equal as I can. So now I'm going to show you 2 clips of the same scene happening, and you tell me how much difference it makes. How much better of a viewing experience is it, or do you really even care about that? Because it takes a lot longer to film and a lot more time to edit the up-close version. So let's take a look at both of those real quick. Got to check and make sure the camera's still on. Okay, that's an example of 2 different ways to edit the same thing. And the easiest and the laziest thing is to fast forward through a lot of footage. But I think some people, myself included, might like that because you're seeing the entire project instead of little bits and pieces. And you get to see that entire project in a short period of time because we don't have an hour to watch each video. So let me show you some other tricks or things I think about as I work on how long the video is going to be. Okay, so here we have clips of me talking. I don't know what I'm saying here. Without audio. For me, I stick right here. Okay, now you can see in the audio track right here, there's a gap. For me, I stick right here. Now I'm thinking, deciding what to say. I feel like this may have been the most boring part of the video. Now let's do something more interesting. I've realized that should have been more interesting. Now I may or may not even leave those sentences in. And you already know because you've already seen it. But I can clip right next to the audio on both of them and delete that. Make it a smooth transition. I feel like this may have been the most... same thing here. Interesting. I clip, and I come to my next speaking point, and I clip. Now, I could show myself moving the camera, but it's all shaky, and it's going to be disorienting. And I could speed this up. I could click it and play that at 8 times speed. Do something more interesting. And I want to talk about framing. And it's kind of a fun little thing to see me moving and fast forward and then jump straight back into the conversation. But like in this case, I don't think I want to do that. So I'm going to delete that clip. But since I'm not standing in the same place, it makes it kind of a funny transition if you leave it like this. And I want to talk about... That's called a jump cut, but I think we want this type of transition where it fades in between the 2 shots. Something more interesting. And I want to talk about framing shots. Now that worked fine, but a lot of times you've got a close cut where there was no gap in between me saying one thing and the next. And then when you put your transition in, do something more interesting. I want to talk about it jumps it too quick. So sometimes I'll trim those down to a really short, a really brief fade. Something more interesting. I want to talk about... That's a good way if you need to cut 3 words out of a sentence and nobody know it. You go with a really short transition. But we will leave this one the way it was. Now typically, I will have, in this case, I've got 1 hour and 7 minutes of footage, plus I'm still recording right now. I'll probably have 1.5 hours of footage to work with, and I'd like this video to be 12 minutes, but I don't know what I can really cut it to. And there's decisions you have to make when you wanted to make a 15-minute video because you think that's the attention span of the audience, but the story you told in that video took hours to tell, and you've got all this footage, and sometimes you have to say, I love this conversation I have right here, but there's just not room for it in the video. I'm going to have 12 consecutive minutes of just me talking, and nobody wants to see that. So you have to make choices about video length. The last couple of points I want to make is another way to make your videos more interesting is to find, as you edit, watch for it all the time, every edit, what's the most interesting 30 seconds of this video? Did I say something funny? Did I say something that seems like maybe it's going to be a dangerous or a fail or a bad situation? Take your most interesting 30-second clip, put it at the beginning of the video, and then transition into something chronological, because you don't always want to start chronologically with a long monologue. Now, I figure for a lot of you this is not that interesting, but for people who wanted to start a YouTube channel, I thought maybe this could be a really helpful video. So, anyway, hopefully it turns into a good video. I appreciate you taking time to watch. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.